Greetings and salutations, this is Coronavirus Nerdsville. As as a lot of the world has come to grips that the legendary comic book artist Stan Lee passed away. The creator of the Fantastic Four, X-Men, the Avengers, and other such splinter groups, be it villainous with Hydra or something, or something smaller, or a character, or a hero again in Logan Wolverine, or Logan Wolverine. But a lot of people will be reading out the report on his death, the wonderful things that he's created. Me, I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to do it a more of a, since one of my hobbies is anthropology, the study of cultures, I'm going to do it more on an anthropological scale. One thing I've witnessed is a drop in illiteracy from the time prior to Stan Lee doing his stuff to now. There was a huge illiteracy prior to all prior to comics in general. But the comics have ended up being the sugar to help the medicine of illiteracy called literacy help the medicine go down the throat much more easier. That's what the comics have done. They've made it easier for children to read. It's given, and with Stan Lee doing most of this, I know there have been little contributors here, like, one guy created Superman, one guy created Batman, but I'm talking about Stan Lee. Stan Lee created an entire universe. He literally created an entire mythological universe on his own. Great, powerful figures like the Juggernaut from X-Men, Rhino from Spider-Man, through Apocalypse. Big, powerful characters. Down to the teeny characters like Ant-Man. You can go into something, destroy the circuitry, and get the hell out of there. To someone who's agile and swift, like Wolverine, who's strong and agile. His rival, Sabretooth. Spider-Man, who's agile and very graceful. Not discounting the ladies, Susan Storm becoming invisible. What I would call the element, like in the Fantastic Four, you have Earth, which is Ben, Fire, which is Johnny, Water, which you can loosely base around Reed, and Susan Storm is air. So, Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water. And having the wind element being Sue Storm, you got Storm herself, Aurora Monroe. All this lightning and that. Jean Grey, aka the Dark Phoenix, and the Phoenix afterwards as well. He had created so many wonderful characters. Murdoch, aka Daredevil, Elektra, the Ghost Rider, and other such great characters. As a part of this spoonful of sugar helped the medicine go down, which is a Mary Poppins reference, but I'm just leaving that alone. And a lot more people have become artists. People have become writers, people have become painters, storytellers, and all this stuff because of Stan Lee. With what Stan Lee had created or had created way back, all those years ago, back 60, 70 years ago, has grown to what is being around today. You've got excellent technology to do things with. You've had Lou Ferrigno being identified as the Hulk. And historically speaking, from professional wrestling point of view, Terry Bollea sat down beside Lou Ferrigno, aka the Incredible Hulk, which started in a Hulk movie alongside Stan Lee. And guess what? I don't believe that Hulk Hogan would have been around, or Hulkamania been in existence, if it wasn't for Terry Bollea sitting beside Mr. Lou Ferrigno. Which is a stated fact. There have been terminologies now that have used the characters, and I speak from an anthropological point of view. To go back to professional wrestling, Rob Van Dam, in the first ever Elimination Chamber, he was about to fly off. He flew off the ropes, about to do something to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho ducked, and the announcer said, "Wow, Spider-Man-like. Rob Van Dam did a Spider-Man-like maneuver." He's like, jump, whoop, grabbed onto the chain cage, turned around, and did like a half flip, high cross body tackle to Chris Jericho. I'm not saying Rhino from ECW had anything to do with Rhino from Spider-Man. You could easily say that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Rhino, or aka Rocksteady, is a outlook of Rhino from Marvel. Ghost Rider and getting bits and pieces here and there. All of these things, man, just so much stuff that he has done over the years. This is little bits and pieces that he has grabbed, and he's grown them, expanded on them. Made Wolverine into a confused, memory loss patient, which is his flaw. I know some in the movies with Hugh Jackman, boom, boom, couple of bullets right in here, made Logan forget about his past, and made him forget about what he's done over the years. And it's just so many things that Stan Lee has done in the form of creating these wonderful characters. He has given hell. I've spoken with Stan Lee when he was in Sydney last. He chatted. We just chatted about different things. And he's one, and for us in Australian terminology, he's one top bloke. it's just all of this, all the wonderful stuff that he's given to the world. To be honest with you, I wish in the years to come people would be saying the same thing about me. But yeah, to be honest with you, I don't see that happening. But you know, he's impacted media. He reinvented knights in shining armor with Tony Stark. He created a character so patriotic to America and to the American way of life. It's just immensely beautiful. Then he's got a Norse god. There's been tales have been saying there's been you know, spoken about him for years and years and years and years and years. But he spun it a different way. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde reinvented as one Dr. Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Telling of different told all about raised the issues of racism in America. Saying, you know, bringing the X-Men together. With Beast with his long hair, like, big feet, big hands, overly athletic, overly powerful, overly fast on his feet. To Magneto being able to move a lot of metal around. To having so many other characters that have come afterwards. As I mentioned, Logan. Spider-Man's also taken part in the X-Men Aurora Storm. It was controversy on the pages. Oh, what is this Jewish fella doing with that German? The Germans are bad. They kill all the Jews. Oh, what's that black-looking tailed freak doing with that white girl? Stan Lee broke down more barriers than any of today's feminists, any of today's politicians, or any of today's social justice warriors. That is what Stan Lee is to me. He made people change their views. Instead of wearing a suit and tie, he said it on the comics. Having Jean Grey approach Nightcrawler, seeing that he's upset, console him. A white woman consoling a black man that looks like a monkey. Then you got the Russian Colossus chumming it up with Iceman, who looks like an American jock. Here, Iceman. Great way on how you defeated the Sentinel, yeah? Reason the feet. Thanks for keeping my bucket. Hey, Colossus. You would have done the same thing. I had your back, and I know that you would have had mine. that you could see in the comics. The relationship between Colossus, the Russian, and Iceman, the American. When Storm, like in the comics, you can see Storm getting knocked out by a white man, and this is back in the 1960s. Then you can just see like a character, something similar to, or could be, it could have been Wolverine himself, a big, like a powerful white man. And go, yeah, bub. You want to get to her. You have to get through me first. Which is controversial. He was controversial before Alice Cooper and the Blood. He was controversial before Ozzy Osbourne biting the head of the dove. Stan Lee was controversial. Stan Lee got children to read. Stan Lee educated people about social issues. That's what I'm saying. Stan Lee has done more to say that women can be powerful than any feminist movement. Feminist movement of today is what is women wanting sheer dominance in the workforce. Stan Lee said, a woman can be powerful on her own merits. Jubilee, Shadowcat, Aurora Monroe, Susan Storm, Elektra, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, just to name a few. He even said black men can have power, or men of different colors can have power. Or not American, let's just say that. Colossus, Russian. Nightcrawler, Gypsy European, a dark-skinned Gypsy European. Rhodes, Major Rhodes, best friends to a multi-millionaire, and high up in the U.S. military. Black Panther, royalty of Africa. You got disfigured people as well, with, as I said, with Logan and his in the claws. You got Ghost Rider, who in the face of evil gets like deformed, having this, just seeing a skull and flames coming up. The Incredible Hulk, a fine example of disformity. You've got several other things that he's given, say, you know what? You don't care. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what skin you have. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care if you're tall or small. You, if you put your mind to it, can do anything. He said, don't let your current status make you any less than a higher status. That is what Stan Lee has taught me over the years. Outside of my own father and my father's father, who are great dark-skinned men who have done a lot in their lives, which I'm very proud of. Well, my father saved several women from getting trampled on at a few concerts. My late grandfather was a medic in World War II. He carried wounded, sick officers, army personnel to the MASH units. those men made me proud. And I've seen the same stories or the same lessons in what Stan Lee has been saying to the world for years. And lastly, to his family, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart that you are able to share such a brilliant man, such a loving, kind, and compassionate man in the world. The man who literally outlasted his competition in all these other creators. It was a great honor to just sit down and have lunch with him and talk. I'm just my heart and my thoughts and my prayers go out to you all. Stan Lee had the mindset to be a great politician, to be a great social leader. But he chose comics. And for that I thank Stan as well. Again, to his family, I thank you for sharing this wonderful man with the world. My thoughts, my prayers are with you. And to quote the great man himself, Excelsior! Peace.